Hello and welcome to today's video. So today I'm doing a quick sort of first-ish impressions of a pen. It comes packaged like this. A lot of you will have already seen this packaging online, so you'll know what the pen is, also from the video titles. This is the Gravitas Monster. This was sent to me by Ben Walsh at Gravitas and Emmy from Pen Venture. Big thank you to them. I love the Gravitas pens. I've used a bunch of them. I buy a bunch of them. I just think they're brilliant. And when they asked if I wanted to look at this, of course, I said yes. So it comes packaged very coolly. I will say also, I will do a full review of this pen in another month or so. I just wanted to really give it, I wanted to give it a first airing here just because I think it's worth looking at, but also I wanted to give it time for a full review because there's a lot going on here. So let's have a look at it. So unzip the package, and I got the aluminium silver version here. Now I've had this inked up now for about, I think it's a little over a week, or about a week. So this, as I said, this is sort of like a first impressions-ish video. So it's got, you know, this sort of nice aluminium finish on it. There's a bunch of different materials. I'll cover all of this in more detail in the full review. Just wanted to give some first ideas of sort of where my head's at with it. I think it's a really interesting pen. One thing that we need to take into account is that Monster in the title is not about the size of the pen, because like if we look at it alongside, you know, the piston carbon black here from Gravitas pens, you see it's not particularly huge. Like this is a good sized pen, but it's not like this is like a monster sized pen. The Monster refers to the ink capacity, which if you fill it up fully, you get about 7 milliliters of ink, which is a lot of ink. I got about 4.5 on the first pump here. And I just did a single pump because I want to write this, as much of this through, and then I'll refill it with another ink and test that for the actual review. But the filling system is called the Kraken, and basically it's a fancy version of a vac filler. So if you're familiar with the vac filler, you extend the rod out, you push the rod down, there's a little piston on the end. As that gets down, it builds up pressure behind it, and then it gets past a certain point, it releases, and ink is sucked up into the pen. Now, what Ben has done with this is he's based the details of the filling mechanism on mechanical heart valves and, you know, medical stuff. So there's a bit of sort of you know, there's an element in it that when you release the knob, there's like a second little disc that creates the pressure, and so that moves out of the way, allowing for ink to fill up properly. Now, I will link to Emmy's video from Pen Venture about this pen in the video description here. It goes into insane amount of detail, and I think it's a really great resource. But this is a really good size pen. I have it here in a broad nib, and it feels very comfortable, and the broad feels right on this pen. It's got a number 8 size nib, ebonite feed, big size in the hand, nice girth, and so having a broad nib on it sort of feels right to me. There are little micro grooves on the section. It's a nice shape section. The pen feels really well balanced in the hand when it is unposted. When you post it, it's a lightweight pen, so it's I think it's a aluminium body, and it's got a Delrin cap liner so that those threads are nice and smooth. So you can post it. It becomes quite big in the hand, but the balance still remains pretty good. You do feel a little bit more back weight. For me, that is plenty big enough, and a really nice weight to use unposted. And I have done a bit of writing with this. You know, it writes beautifully smoothly, and it's wet and it's generous, and particularly with this beautiful cross violet ink in it, I think it looks amazing. You know, all the details are right. One, you know, turn for capping it, flat ends with the Gravitas logo on it there. I don't know if the camera will pick that up. There you are. Nice details. It's got a Gravitas feel about it, but it's sort of like a new kind of Gravitas feel. Like a lot of the Gravitas pens have these peaked ends and finials and stuff. So having flat ends, you know, it does give it a sort of a new feel, a new vibe, but it's very definitely a Gravitas design. As it stands now, the Gravitas Monster retails for about €285. And there are a few different versions. I think there's a black version and a teal version, and I'm sure there will be more. There was a sort of a slightly limited run on this first batch of them, but I think it's going to be a pen that enters into the pen universe with a lot of bang. So it's really great. Let's do a quick size comparison, then I'll do a writing sample and give some initial pros and cons. Now, I won't go into the specific dimensions in this video. There are other videos that do that. I'll cover all of that more in the full review, as well as talking a bit more about the materials and things like that. But you can see here, alongside a range of other similar pens, the Piston Carbon Black from Gravitas and then the Titan from 5040, it is a good size pen. It has a lot in common with the Titan. It doesn't have that sort of bulk filling mechanism. It is a vac filler. It's just a new take on the vac filler. But you can see it's a good size pen, and these all have like a pretty nice sort of number 8 sort of size nib on them, which I'll just take these caps off. And so like the balance of the pen in terms of the size, I think, is really great. Having the number 8 size nibs does just sort of give it a bit of a sense of, a nice sort of size in the hand, and it's always sort of in proportion. So let's do this quick writing sample here with the Gravitas Pens Monster with the number 8 steel broad nib. As I said, the ink in this is Cross Violet, one of the best purple inks going around, in my opinion. Okay. So you can see here, it's not the wettest, but if I open up that valve just ever so slightly, like you do with a lot of vac filling pens, in a little bit, this is going to be writing already like quite wet. It's very smooth, but you do have the ability to sort of control the flow just ever so slightly. You can see just the difference between opening up the valve a little bit. Like it's now pretty much a gusher. It's very, very wet. It's very smooth. It's reliable. As I said, I'll go into all this detail in more detail. But it's a joy to write with. It's nice in the hand. My only couple of thoughts, one little con I have at this stage, and that is, firstly, that section, there's micro grooves on it, but it still feels a little slippery in my hand, just ever so slightly. Not so much that I can't write with it, but I feel like if I was getting particularly like sweaty or something like that while I was writing with it, it may start to move around in my hand a little bit. But there are tons of pros already. Great smooth nib, feels good in the hand. Every detail has been beautifully researched and developed over years. I've been talking to Ben about some of these concepts for years. So it's great that it's now available out on the market. And also having an ink capacity like that, if you're someone who writes a lot, who doesn't want to have to think about re-inking all the time, this is such a great option. And I'm really glad to be having a look at it. As I said, I will spend more time with this pen. I will go into the details of materials and dimensions and a little bit more about my feelings, pros and cons and stuff in the full review. But to give you a first glimpse and some initial thoughts, if this is a pen you're interested in, jump over to Pen Venture, grab one, and I think it's going to be a pen that a lot of people are really going to like. So thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. A big thank you to Ben and Emmy over there for providing this for me to review. And if you'd like to support the channel, I'd love to hear from you. In the meantime, enjoy your pens, enjoy writing, and I'll talk to you soon.